Okay, next Lauren Boebert story. Lauren Boebert has been reported to the FBI for allegedly inciting violence by saying that we need to terminate the presidency of Joe Biden. Now, she doesn't say impeachment. She doesn't say 25th Amendment. She says terminate the presidency of Joe Biden. And now she has been reported to the FBI. Newsweek, Lauren Boebert reported to FBI after terminate this presidency tweet. Lauren Boebert has been reported by several users. The House Republican from Colorado on Sunday appeared to mock President Joe Biden after he mistakenly said presidency instead of pregnancy when discussing abortion rights being restricted in the U.S. following the revoking of Roe v. Wade. In response to her tweet, actually, let's look at the tweet first. Quote, "We need to terminate this presidency," end quote, repeat the line. Unfortunately, you can't just terminate things you don't want, Lauren. We've got to see this out through its full term. And this is really getting into fascistic rhetoric, particularly in light of a former world leader just being assassinated. It doesn't feel like an overreaction to say that Lauren Boebert should be investigated over this. And the term is stochastic terrorism. I've told you guys about this before. Stochastic terrorism is when you have a large enough audience that if you feed an idea to enough people, it starts to become statistically likely that someone will act on it. So, for example, when you are, I don't know, Tucker Carlson, and if he were, and he's not doing this exactly, but if he were to every night say, we need someone to deal with Joe Biden in a permanent way. Okay. He's not saying go out and kill Joe Biden. But with a large enough audience, it would start to become predictable that someone's going to try to act on what Tucker Carlson is saying in exactly the violent way that he is implying it. This is not hypothetical. We have seen these incidents happen in the past. There's this guy, Glenn Beck. I believe he still is on The Blaze, maybe? I think Glenn Beck is associated with The Blaze, a right-wing outlet, where when he had a program on, again, I'm thinking back, I think it was on Fox, although was it CNN? Now, I don't even remember. He became obsessed with hammering on the Tides Foundation. The Tides Foundation, it's an enemy, it's evil, it's all this different stuff. And California Highway Patrol ended up actually pulling a guy over who was on his way to do violence to the Tides Foundation because he heard Glenn Beck talk about it. Now, could you hold Glenn Beck legally liable for that? No. Now, if it was significantly more direct, then maybe you could. But in that way, you're not going to hold Glenn Beck legally liable, but stochastic terrorism is a cultural phenomenon. If you continue hammering on whoever, then these things are going to happen. A more recent example, during the pandemic, Donald Trump talking about the China virus. China did it. Never should have happened. There have to be consequences. They must be punished, and on and on and on. And it leads to just on the street hate crimes against people believed to be of Asian and Pacific Islander origin. And we saw it in the United States. Random Asian women punched, knocked down, knocked out in some cases. Some of these things caught on video. Is Trump legally liable? No. Did he say go out and punch random Asian people on the street? No. But from our cultural understanding, we would start to realize, oh, it's going to become likely that that will happen when you have a large enough platform and you start putting these messages into people's minds. And that's exactly what Lauren Boebert is doing here with we must terminate this presidency. Stochastic terrorism. It's the term. We've seen it before. It's real. And unfortunately, there's two sides to this. One, a lot of these things don't rise to the level of criminality. And I'm not saying that they should. They just often don't. And number two, there is so much of this that law enforcement can't even keep up. Federal law enforcement, investigative agencies, Secret Service keeping up threats. It's overwhelming the degree to which this type of thing is out there. And if you listen to the voicemail that I posted to my Instagram and to my Twitter this morning, you will see that these folks are everywhere. And we've got to be very, very cautious and concerned about them. And Lauren Boebert is just making the problem worse.